welcome back to Art with the Rupps. Hope you guys had a nice spring break. Maybe you did some fun art over this past week. We did a few things here and there. Today we have a fun thing to show you guys. A couple of marbling techniques, and it should be a lot of fun. It's for every age level, from pre-K all the way up until into adulthood. So I hope you guys enjoy this. So this technique is a monoprinting technique, which means one of one. So you can never repeat it ever again, which makes it kind of unique in that sense. We're using more of a simplified technique of shaving cream and food coloring and a variety of other materials that we're going to show you guys here in a second.
And this process of printing with ink has been around for a long time. We wanted to give you a little bit of history about it. So it started actually in Japan, and there it's called suminagashi. This is actually a scarf that I made using that technique. So there's ink that's suspended on water, and then the scarf is then laid down and printed on. The technique's also been used for hundreds of years in Turkey as well. There, the technique is known as Ebru, and it's often used in historical documents and things that do not want to be replicated or forged. So that's used as a way of showing that it's one of one.
Yep, and then also more recently, artists have used the marbling technique for book end pages as well as covers, such as this one right here. My brother actually made this book. He bound it himself and used some marbling for the cover as well as on the inside. So really cool technique, lots of fun. You can get really creative with it, find things around your house, and we're going to show you a few of those techniques right now. So a few items you can find around your house might be something as simple as some paper, but it's got to be heavy paper usually. Copy paper is a little too flimsy and will get a little soggy with all the shaving cream. But cardstock works really well, as well as, I guess...
Yeah. We had some cardstock at home. I also found these envelopes I'm going to try printing on. And then even we had a little box of brownies that we are planning to cut open and then use the inside of that because it's kind of like cardstock.
I'm going to experiment with, of course, printing on a baseball. You never know. Could be kind of cool looking. Could be a failure, but you know, since art is all about failing. You can use paper plates as well as wood. We're going to experiment with some wood and see how that works as well. What did you find?
I'm going to try to print it on some seashells.
We'll see if it works.
You never know. Experiment. That one was definitely a little better.
That looks like checkers.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a technique using liquid watercolor, or actually just regular watercolor that we're adding a lot of water to. And I'm going to use our beloved Cosmic Brownie box here, which I cut apart. You can see I just cut off the one side. I'm going to use the back. So we'll start again with some shaving cream. I hope this fits on here. Yeah, it should. Well enough. Okay, now, one thing you want to make sure you do that we've learned here, you can start and just put food coloring or a watercolor right on this, but what happens is you get an uneven printing. So you want to make sure that sometimes it's easier to smooth it out. Make sure your knife is a little clean. This has a little pink on or purple on it, but it looks a little cool. So smoothing out your surface will help with a more clean print. I'm going to smooth out the surface here. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just don't want any ginormous crevices. Okay. Alrighty. Then I'm going to go ahead and take my watercolor over here. As you can see, I'm just using trays of watercolor like this. Now, one thing I'm going to try differently this time is I am actually going to just take some blue here, put on some big dollops or big drops. All right, and before I add anything else, I'm going to take a toothpick and mix this up a little bit. And I'm going to take some purple and just splatter it on top. One thing I learned with watercolor too is that sometimes you can get more tiny drops this way, which actually creates a pretty cool effect once you print it. Not everything has to be swirled or have lines dragged through, although the lines do look pretty cool, which I'm going to demonstrate here. Let's add a little bit of red. Again, for this one, I'm just going to use pretty big drops by squeezing my brush. Okay, let's see, what else could we use? Let's try a little yellow. Then I'm gonna splatter it on. Just kind of flicking my brush. Make sure there's a lot of water on your brush if you're using watercolor. Okay, now I'm gonna take the toothpick and I'm just going to create this line pattern going back and forth this way. Keeping the lines pretty close together. And let's try going in. If you like that, you can stop. I'm going to try going in the other direction. Now, one thing you want to make sure you don't do is overmix. Sometimes what we've discovered is if you do just mix too much, it just gets to be a little muddled and will turn brown if you have too many colors in the pan. All right, so at this point you could add like black for some emphasis if you wanted to, or a really dark color. But I'm going to go ahead and try this and see how this looks. Now when you push down too, you want to make sure that you're pushing hard enough that the entire surface of the paper that you're printing with is touching the shaving cream. So the pan's a little short for this, but we're just going to go with it. Okay, now for a squeegee, always have a paper towel on hand, and you can use, like I said, we just use some old cardboard. Squeegee this off here. Now this one was really light, which is good, because what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to write a little message on this. It's going to end up being like a tri-fold board, or tri-fold letter really, and I'll show you the finished product in the end. Some other examples that I have here. This one right here, did like a cross pattern with. I used the back of the Little Debbie cake box, and this one I added a little black in there for some pop, some contrast. You can look at it up close. Okay, so you can get some pretty cool effects with this.
I'm going to show you a really fun technique that you can use for an envelope that you can send someone a letter in. What I did is I took some blue painter's tape and scissors, and I just cut a rectangle for where I would put the person's address and then my return address. And then I even cut out some little stars on here. You could do hearts, just any shape that you wanted to add a little decoration to it. And then I'm going to take my liquid food coloring and spread it out in the shaving cream. this around, make a design. Okay, make sure that you have enough to actually fill in the space of your envelope. So once it's about the same size, you're going to press it straight down into the shaving cream to make sure that it prints everywhere. Really press it in. And then peel it up. And then you can use a piece of cardboard or an old gift card to scrape off the shaving cream. With a little squeegee. And then you'll carefully remove the blue tape. I may need to outline my stars a little bit here, or even outline it before I lift that one up. Or I could reprint it. Andrew used this on a card, so he just folded a sheet of cardstock in half, like this, and he put down a piece of blue tape, and I cut out some hearts for him, and he printed on this. So you could use the tape resist that way. And then he also worked on a little sheet of stationery, and we put down 3 pieces of blue tape and then did some blue tape hearts.
All right, so as we concluded all of these prints, it was cool to see the one-of-one effects that were taking place. The biggest takeaway is this: experiment, experiment, experiment. Try different things.
You'll mess up, but it's okay.
You will mess up. Failure was a big part of this, as we learned, right? It's very messy, as you can see, but that's the fun of it. Use different things to scratch into or smooth out the shaving cream with. You can make flowers, different designs. Just go crazy with it. Really, just try your best and just experiment.
So we did, as you can see, we tried out picture frame, a baseball, but one of the main things that we wanted to do with our prints was to turn them into greeting cards for our friends and family, and to decorate envelopes to send to them. Part of the Bible that came to mind for us was Romans chapter 12, where we're called as the body of Christ to love one another. We thought about that verse calling us to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. And I'm sure that you can think of someone who would really appreciate a note of encouragement or just comfort right now. So hopefully you can maybe make some cards using this printing technique.
And have fun with it. So we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.